Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
I'm Caleb Brooks with Central Alabama Voice, and I'm joined by the mayor of Camp Hill down here, Messiah Cole Williams. And, for you, man, you get elected mayor here in Camp Hill, and, you're such a young age. I mean, for people that don't know, 21 years old, and, you just got able to vote within the last 4 years, and now all of a sudden here you are in office and as the mayor. And, kind of just tell me, I mean, how surreal is it to be sitting here as a 21-year-old and be the, over a whole entire city right now?
I mean, honestly, it's a little bit overwhelming just because I remember playing here. I had an interview before this, and we were up at Town Hall, and I was looking at the library 15 years ago, for most of the people who are in leadership here, 15 years ago, maybe they were just, that's when they had their kids. 15 years ago, I was graduating preschool, really, getting my thing in the first, second grade. So it's kind of surreal thinking about how far and how fast that journey has occurred. But being in the moment right now, it doesn't seem surreal because I've consistently worked to try to make this town better.
Kind of give people just a background on, really where you're from, where your family's kind of from, and how your interest in all this really just kind of developed. Was it at a young age, or has it been recent that you've kind of developed an interest in doing this?
I think easy way to characterize me is just I'm the embodiment of Camp Hill. I've lived here my entire life. Was born in '99. Mom brought me home from Ellick City from Russell Medical Center 3 days later after I was born, and I've been here ever since. I stayed right on Holly Avenue in a house. And actually, my mom and I are now neighbors. So my home that I grew up in, I'm neighbors with I'm actually neighbors with my mom now.
Yeah.
So it's just that I've always been here. We're right in front of the Camp Hill Park. This is where I learned how to play basketball. I think this concrete is what taught me how to be a man. When I was younger, I was a late spurt in terms of growth. So you kind of had to fight to get on the court and play basketball against the older boys. And I think that says a lot about the spirit that we have here. You have to earn respect here. You have to earn your wealth here. You have to earn your right to have a voice in this town. And I think that that's really what I'm most proud about in Camp Hill.
Looking at this now, I mean, how much has this place changed since you were a little kid, and how much did that motivate you to do what you're doing and taking over this town and trying to make a change?
I think it's a lot. I think it really motivated me because, like I said, right now we're sitting in front of the park, and so right now the park is locked. And a lot of people would like to say that's because of coronavirus, but I mean, Auburn's park and recreation is open. Alexander City has outside parks and rec that are open. So it's seeing little things where this place was such a vital part of my childhood, a vital part of my growth. Because when you're growing up, you don't see it as this is making me a man. You're like, hey, I want to go play basketball. Mm-hmm. But the instances I had here when, say I'm playing basketball and you have to call your foul, that's something that taught me, hey, stand up for yourself. Hey, you touched me, you didn't play by the rules. Those are little things that contribute to your growth in a small town like this. So it was just passing little things like this where this park has been locked for a long time. And even in the park, we're not maintaining the grass here. We're not making sure that the concrete is filled in so that kids can have a safe place to play. So those are the things that kind of inspired me to go. It's just making sure that we maintain a foundation for people to chase their pursuit of happiness.
And being from here and all of that, I was telling you, I work with the HSA, I go and talk to coaches, and my favorite thing is to talk to coaches that went to that school. You can tell there's a difference in the way they care about that program and all that. So, being from here and everything, how much of a difference do you think that will make in being in your position and, having your heart in this place already, having grown up here? You look at other places and there's people that become the mayor and they're not from there. They didn't grow up there and they just ended up, moving there and living there. For you, this is your home. And so how much of a difference do you think that'll make in the way that you care and the certain things that you want to do to this place?
I think that really what attracts people to that is since I'm from here, they know that I know their struggle. I know what they went through. I know what we had to go through at Edward Bell. I know the opinion that a lot of outside towns have towards us, and the places that I've gone and succeeded at, like Auburn University, like the different high schools I went to. They know the type of hard work I put into those things, so they're attracted to come to a place like here because they want to see what it's about. You know, they want to see why are you so invested in this town that has an average income that's $5,000 below the poverty line or right at the poverty line. Why are you so interested in a town that doesn't have livable infrastructure? And it's because it's what makes us us. So I think that people really connect with me, and they'll show that they want to be involved. I think one of my favorite things to say is that I'm a Messiah, not the Messiah. So telling people that, it's just like, you don't have to be that special kid. Like, yeah. I'm a common case. I have an extraordinary circumstance right now, but I mean, I put my pants on one leg at a time.
You know, and with that, you know, obviously I'm a younger guy too, just like you, in a profession where there is a lot of older people and stuff. Mm-hmm. And do you ever feel at times, being a younger guy, that, you know, you have to do a little bit extra and you have to do a little bit more to try to prove yourself to all these people that probably look, you know, at you and go, man, this young guy's up here, you know, is he going to be able to do it? I mean, do you feel like you have a chip on your shoulder because of that?
I think in certain ways I have, because I've kind of adapted to it. I'm kind of a mixture of old and new, because I'll say one example. I have tattoos, but in the way that I present myself, I would never go and, you know, get a face tat or anything like that. But it's just that you have to be presentable, and you have to kind of bridge the gap between those two ages and things. You have to be respectable. And I think being in a southern town, and this is a true embodiment of what southern hospitality is, you have to give respect to get respect. And I think when you put that as respect up front, you show them that, hey, I'm a man first and foremost, that they respect that and they respect you.
Was this something that at 13, 14, 15 years old, you looked and said, you know, hey, one day I'm going to be sitting in that chair up there where I'm going to be making, you know, decisions and things like that? Or is this something that in the last couple of years you kind of, you know, felt, you know, hey, there's a need up there and I feel like I could fill that void?
Okay, so honestly, I always felt like I would be mayor. I thought it would be 45 years old. I always thought I would come back and be mayor. My thing was, I'm going to go do this school thing, going to go ahead, go get, after I graduate, go get my master's degree, grad degree, whatever degree I decide to get. And then I'm going to work for a while, get myself financially stable, build up this network of resources, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to make change within my community. So the last couple of years, I've just been kind of joking about it. Man, I can run for mayor. I can run for mayor. Until last year, I tried to fill a void in town council. We had 2 city council members resign, so that it was a chance for city council to appoint someone to fill those vacancies. I applied on October 23rd of 2019, and I was notified sometime in November, I think November 12th, that I was rejected, that they had picked 2 people to replace me. And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of made me feel some type of way, because I knew I was of the community. I felt like I was actually a part of this community and that I connected with a lot of different people in this community. So from that interaction, I kind of jokingly said, you know, I'm gonna run for mayor. And I didn't really get serious into it until about May or June. I announced on June 1st of this year. And that's when I really got set in stone, like, I can do this, I can make a change.
You know, in making this type of decision right here, what was the conversation like? You know, your mom's your neighbor now. What was the conversation like with your mom on, hey, Mom, this is what I want to do, and I do think I can do this, and, you know, getting support from your family and things like that on going on a journey like this? I think
the thing is, and one thing that gave me a lot of confidence was that my mom has always supported me. My mom has always been that car that drove me. You know, I would be the gas and she would be the car.
Yeah.
She would always just mold me and push me in areas. And if I wanted to do something, she would never tell me it was a bad idea. She would give me the freedom to try it and attempt it. Like 1 year I played soccer. And that was my first time ever kicking a ball. Like, I come from a place where we play basketball and football. We don't use our feet for anything. But she supported me in it, and she was like, but when it was all said and done, she was like, yeah, Messiah, you know, you was kind of terrible at soccer. I wasn't going to tell you. So it's just that her pushing me in those places and guiding me and letting me mess up and letting me grow in the areas where I want to go, she really helped me. And even with this, I know one thing I've never wanted to get in was I never wanted to be a politician. And I still don't want to be a politician. You know, I'm just someone who cares about other people. I'm pro-Campbell, pro-Alabama, pro-United States, and I'm pro-person, pro-human rights. I want everyone to be treated with dignity. So that's one thing that she's really pushed upon me.
You know, with you playing sports growing up and everything, you know, you played at Opelika to finish out your high school career and all that. How much do you look back now on, you know, you playing sports and the way that has shaped your life and how it's affected your life. And, now with you being in this position, do you think being a part of a team, having to do all the things that being on a team kind of entails, has that prepared you any for what you're doing now as the head of this whole city?
I think that sports is maybe the one extracurricular activity that contributed the most. Just because being an athlete, you have to learn how to take criticism. Me being, I'm barely 6 feet. I'm barely 6 feet of 6 feet, 180 pounds, but I can dunk a basketball. But that's not something like every time I go up for a layup, I can't attempt to dunk. I have to learn to play within my limits. When I was playing basketball, here, I didn't play organized basketball until 8th grade. And so it's just that you have to learn the steps. So when I started playing, I thought I could play basketball, but then you get organized basketball. You have to learn how to field the lanes correctly. You have to learn how to properly run a pick and roll. So it's things that showed me at an early age that you have to do the proper steps to get better. When I went to Opelika, that was the first time I ever had somebody actually show me how to shoot a basketball. And it's something that I didn't think about until recently. Like, it's steps to everything. We can go out there and we can throw our hat in the ring and we can try to do something. But even within, and the approach that I'm taking to this mayoral journey is that I'm really going to play by the books. Make sure that I follow the guidelines and I create a culture where we follow those guidelines and create those same winning cultures that we talk about in sports. Because lastly, I'm an Auburn man. It's a lot of Alabama fans, and the thing that I envy about Alabama is that Alabama is expected not only by themselves to win, but by everyone else. They're always ranked top 5 or better. Auburn is usually ranked in the top 25, but as a top 25 team, you're not necessarily looked at the odds-on favorite to win the national championship. But for everybody that goes to Auburn University, we expect to win. We expect to beat Alabama. We expect to beat LSU. We expect to be in that national championship conversation. We haven't won a championship since 2010, but the last 5 years, you wouldn't be able to tell that by walking on campus. So it's just that we have to create a winning culture here and expect to win. And I think something that translates perfectly from sports to everyday life. When I wake up in the morning, I expect to win that day.
And you brought up Edward Bell earlier, and obviously Edward Bell's a place that won, and state championships and all that type of stuff. And is that something that you would want to bring back to this community? Is a high school here that people can be proud of, and a winning? And do you think that would help this community getting back to what it was when you were a kid again?
I think that I would love to have us to have our own personal high school, because Edward Bell was something that really made everyone come together, whether it be homecoming or those basketball games and even the baseball team. It was just something that we all did together. We were all a part of, whether you graduated from Edward Bell later in life, or later years, or now. It was just a connection that we had, and it was something that I hate that I didn't have, honestly. I went to Alexander City Schools 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and I told myself that I was going to come back to Tallapoosa County Schools my 7th grade year, because that was the first year, you could play basketball. So my 7th grade year I came back, and that was the year that they shut down Edward Bell, so I ended up going to Dadeville. And so no disrespect to Dadeville, but it's just not the same, I didn't know anyone. I made lifelong friends at Dadeville, but it wasn't the same as putting on the Edward Bell jersey and creating something for my hometown could be proud of. Things that we expected out of each other, because we definitely expected. And I would be lying if I told you now, even with my friends now, it's not something that I talk about, if Edward Bell was over, I expect that we would have won state championships, multiple state championships in basketball.
What do you think the steps are going to need to happen here in this community in order to get it back to a point where you can have a high school, fund a high school? And then, just from that perspective, how important would having a place where, you control the education, it's this place is going to feed back into this community and all that. Just how big of a difference do you really think that could make here?
So I think before we get into doing a high school, we just had to have a community center. And my envision of this park is area in the next 2, 3, 4 years. It's just that I want to get this to a community center. There's no reason why we can't have a basketball court, an indoor swimming pool, 2 classrooms with a dividable wall that a removable wall where you can have, if you're not teaching or you're not helping with homework, people can come have a baby shower. People can come have a retirement party. People can come have a birthday party. So it's just that we need to get used to celebrating with and within our own communities. There's no reason why we should have to journey out to do those things. So, and beyond that, beyond the social aspects, we have to be more transparent within our local government. I want to set up a budget, something that we haven't done in the past decade, is set up a town budget that we at least have a guideline to it, that we at least know that this is where our money goes, and this is where we can tell residents, okay, this is where we expect to spend it. So I think that it's important for us to build that community nature, just because it puts more trust in your government in a time where I know locally and nationally we're at an all-time low as far as governmental trust.
You know, we've had a couple people drive by and beat the horn. We just had another one, and you can tell, this is a small community. I mean, it's not, it's not Auburn, it's not Birmingham, any of those type of places. And how special is that? I mean, when you're at a small, my grandparents live in this little tiny place up in Gadsden called Keener. I mean, it's maybe got like 60 people there, but it's a unique place. And so, how unique is this place, and how special is how close everybody is here in Camp Hill?
I think it's unique because everybody knows everyone. I'm a Tinsley. That's my family, my mother's maiden name. That's the family that I belong to. So it's just having close-knit ties to the people who've been around here, and having people who's been here for generations. They know stuff, and hearing all the things that Camp Hill once was. We were a railroad town. Railroad runs right through the middle of town, so we had booming businesses, we had pharmacies, we had multiple banks here, we had grocery stores, we had furniture stores, and just seeing and hearing about those things go away, it kind of puts like the underdog mentality in your heart. And so one thing that I always like to tell people is that even though we're underdogs, underdog was a superhero too. We're not going to talk about the credibility of how good a superhero he was, but he was a superhero in his own right, and we have to believe that within ourselves. So I think that having that underdog mentality definitely gives you a leg up, because you expect the doubt and you expect to supersede the expectations placed upon you.
Is there any other communities that are around here that you're kind of looking at and the way that they've kind of done some things and saying, hey, we need to probably kind of mold what we're doing off of, the way that they've kind of gotten their community going?
I think one town, well, two cities that do an excellent job is, I think Dadeville. Dadeville does a positive model. I like Alex City's model. Alexander City does a great job of preserving that historical aspect of their town. When you think of Alexander City, the first thing you think of is definitely not like, I want to go to downtown Alex City, but you think of like Alex City has this old Southern feel where they really know what they are, and they take a hold of that. From Dadeville, I like the thing that strategically, like Dadeville has done to promote economic impact. I know we don't think about this when we're driving past it, but if you look at where the majority of businesses are in Dadeville, it's a traffic light right there. So you have a traffic light that has a McDonald's, Dollar General, a Jack's, Subway, 2 gas stations. So you think about things that they strategically do to kind of put an impact on the economic. So thinking of towns like that, thinking of small towns like Shorter or even Tuskegee that have these historical things going on in them, those really give me a lot of hope that we can build upon those. Even Watley has a great historical impact that's something they're proud of.
Is there any kind of message that you would want to give to the people of Camp Hill here, and just you taking over and being in charge now, and just anything that you'd want to say to them? I
think the main thing that I like to say to my constituents is just that to hold me accountable. I know we live in a day and age now where we're not used to being able to go and talk to our leaders. We kind of see our political leaders as above us in a way, and I'm not saying, I'm definitely trying to emphasize that I'm not above anyone. It's just that you have to realize that every person put into office was put there because someone elected them. And I have to realize that people trust me with their money, because when I go to town hall and I make financial decisions, I'm not spending my money. The things that I take home with town hall, if I get sued, it's coming out of the town's liability insurance. It's not going to personally affect me. So the thing is that people have to treat me as such. They have to hold me accountable. They have to come to town hall, and I'm going to put things in place to where it's going to make it easier to hold people accountable. Because I know it's hard for people to be like, man, I have to draft a letter, or I have to get an attorney. But I'm going to introduce things like utility complaint forms, where you'll have a form where you can see I sign off on it, the town clerk will sign off on it, and a utilities person where you can see, hey, they addressed this problem. I might not like what they said, but this is a definite answer they gave me, and they did give me an answer. And I'm going to hold town hall meetings that's going to be more informal. That's going to be separate from the regular council meetings. They're going to be volunteer, so these won't be additional meetings that we will be paid to do. But these will be meetings where they're going to be informal, they're going to be topical, they're going to be quarterly. I plan on having the first one on November 18th of next month, and we're going to have them quarterly in 2021, in January, April, January, April, July, and October, and that's going to correspond with the fiscal year that we also run financially. So having those things going on, we'll be able to keep the town very informed and being able to have people put their input live and in action.
Well, listen, man, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, to be sitting here doing this at a young age, you know, I'm admiring you. I mean, you know, you're a little bit younger than I am, and I admire it. I mean, to take a step that you're taking is it's a huge one. It's a big responsibility, and you know, it's a big decision to make. And you know, I think it's awesome what you're doing, and I really look forward to seeing the way that this town benefits from you being in the position that you're in, and the way that this place changes now over the next couple of years.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate y'all coming out here and really getting into town. That's one thing that I want to make sure that everyone knows, like Camp Hill is an open place. We really are accessible to visitors, and I want to kind of build something to be proud of. And soon y'all will be hearing about the various informational things I'm going to be doing within the community, historical things, and celebratory things. Even in the wake of COVID, we'll be able to do some of those things.
We look forward to it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, sir.